Let's not sugarcoat it. Kindness alone won't save you. If you still believe being a good person is enough to win in this world, you're lying to yourself. And deep down, you feel it. You've felt it. You've followed the rules, treated people with respect, chosen the high road again and again. And where did it get you? Ignored, dismissed, used, not because you were weak, but because the game you thought you were playing doesn't exist. They told you that goodness gets rewarded, that honesty earns recognition, that humility speaks for itself. But look around. Do you see the world rewarding the righteous? Or do you see it rewarding the ones who know how to move? This is where Machiavelli steps in, not as a villain, but as the only man honest enough to say it out loud. He understood something brutal and true. People are selfish when it matters, fickle when it counts, cruel when it's convenient. And in a world like that, virtue without strategy isn't noble, it's suicidal. He wrote it plainly in The Prince. Goodness without calculation is a liability. Compassion without awareness is how you get eaten alive. So ask yourself, how many times have you walked into that trap? You wanted to do the right thing, be fair, be decent, and while you were focused on being good, someone else was focused on winning. They didn't outwork you, they outplayed you, they moved in silence. They knew when to be charming and when to disappear. They saw morality not as a rule book, but as a mask, one they could wear when useful and remove when necessary. And because of that, they're at the top. You're still wondering why doing the right thing feels like running in place. Here's the truth. The problem isn't that you care. The problem is you've never learned how to guard your goodness. You still assume people play fair. You still think your intentions protect you. But out here, opportunists don't need to read your mind. They can smell you. They can sense softness. They can taste your trust before you even offer it. This is where Machiavelli offers something most people are too afraid to embrace: intelligent kindness, not cruelty, not corruption, awareness. It means knowing when to hold back, when to trust your instincts over your ideals. It means being strategic with your heart, not shutting it down, but locking it behind glass when needed. He once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." And let's be honest, you chose love. You wanted to be liked, approved, seen as safe, but all you got was taken for granted. Because kindness without presence is forgettable. Kindness without strength doesn't gain respect, it earns pity. And that's where you've been. Now listen closely. I'm not telling you to stop being good. I'm telling you to stop being easy. The world doesn't respect blind virtue. It respects calculated integrity. True goodness isn't passive, it's tactical. Machiavelli knew this. Power isn't just about what you are. It's about what people think you are. If you seem weak, you'll be treated like prey. But if you seem capable, even before proving it, you'll be handled with caution. So ask yourself, how many times have you let someone cross the line just to avoid causing problems? How many times have you stayed quiet when you should have drawn a line? This isn't about becoming heartless, it's about becoming sharp. Because in a world this ruthless, kindness without clarity is a death sentence. You don't need to stop caring, you need to start calculating. Kindness can be a weapon if you know how to wield it. But left unguarded, it becomes your leash. You walk around thinking your good heart is your armor, when in truth, it's what's making you bleed. And here's the part that stings. The world doesn't value purity. It values dominance. It respects those who can say no without blinking. It bows to those who can be kind and still command a room. Because kindness without force doesn't look noble. It looks weak, disposable, easy to dismiss. Machiavelli would have told you plainly, stop being prey. Stop letting your morals chain you while others walk free. True virtue isn't obedience, it's strategy. It's the quiet genius of reshaping a ruthless world to work in your favor. Ask yourself something. How much longer are you going to let this continue? How many more moments will you hand away your power in the name of being the better person? I'm not telling you to abandon your goodness. I'm telling you to weaponize it. Move in silence and smile only when it matters, because this world doesn't care about fairness. But it will respect those who learn to play its game. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince as a manual for monsters. He wrote it as survival for the sincere, the kind-hearted, the ones like you who are tired of being stepped on. So here's the question. Are you going to keep pretending the world rewards your virtue? Or are you finally ready to lead with your mind without losing your heart? Because now we arrive at something most people never grasp. Power isn't real unless it's seen. Strength hidden is strength wasted. Intellect unprojected is ignored. In this world, what people believe about you often matters more than what's actually true. Tell me, how many times have you watched someone less capable rise higher than you? How many times has charisma beaten competence? How many times has the loud fraud been rewarded while the quiet warrior stayed invisible? This isn't an accident. The crowd doesn't follow justice. It follows confidence. It kneels to the one who acts like they know, even if they don't. This is the trap. You think being good and being right is enough. You think truth carries its own spotlight. It doesn't. In Machiavelli's world, and in this one, what matters isn't just who you are. It's what people think you are. Perception is the lever, and if you don't pull it, someone else will use it against you. Because here's the brutal truth. A leader who doubts themselves out loud will never be followed. An employee who blends in will never be promoted. And someone who doesn't radiate value will never be desired, no matter how much they have to offer. That's the part most people never grasp. It's not enough to be something. You have to know how to frame it. You have to shape how others see you before they decide what you're worth. It's not manipulation, it's presentation. You're not lying. You're curating. You're making sure they see what serves you best. Here's the truth. In every room, every conversation, people aren't reacting to reality. They're reacting to their version of it. A version distorted by bias, expectation, emotion. And unless you control that version, it controls you. If you come off soft, you'll be treated like you can't bite. If you seem unsure, they won't care how brilliant you are. If you carry yourself like you don't matter, you won't. This is where perception becomes power, and most people hand it away. And now, we reach one of the most misunderstood levers of power: unpredictability. Predictable people are easy prey. If they know what you'll do before you do it, they've already outplayed you. But when your next move is unreadable, when no one knows what you'll allow or when you'll act, you become a threat, and threats get respect. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. A leader who's transparent at all times is not trustworthy. They're vulnerable. But a leader cloaked in just enough shadow, one who adapts, pivots, reinvents without losing control, that's someone no one dares to underestimate. So here's the question, and it matters more than you think. Do you want to keep being a walking instruction manual? Easy to read, easy to use, easy to discard? Or do you want to become a strategist, someone whose silence speaks louder than their words, someone whose movements can't be predicted, only studied after the fact? Because kindness without strategy is a signal that says you won't fight back, a signal that says you're safe to exploit. And the world listens to signals, not intentions, so stop asking the world to play fair. It won't. Start learning how the rules actually work, and use them. Because if you apply this right, something shifts. You stop being the one who's always adjusting, and start becoming the one others adjust around. Now let's step into the shadows, the realm that separates those who move silently with control from those who get played loud and clueless. Information. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The most powerful people say the least. They never reveal their full hand. They don't over-explain. They don't fill silences with insecurity. They speak like every word costs something, and that's why their words matter. The naive think honesty means exposure. They think transparency is trust. It's not, it's surrender. Machiavelli made it simple. A real player never telegraphs their next move. Because the moment you show your intentions, You give others a map to use against you. So what's the move? Speak less than you know. Share only what serves you. Hold space. Build mystery. Let them wonder. Let them fill in the blanks, because what they imagine will always be more powerful than what you explain. The strongest people in history, they weren't loud. They were deliberate. You couldn't figure them out. You couldn't pin them down. And because of that, you couldn't control them. The mistake most people make is thinking silence means weakness. It doesn't. It means control. Because the moment people can predict you, they start to plan around you. And the moment they can plan around you, you're out of the game. So stop giving people the blueprint. Start being the unknown variable. Power doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly and changes everything. And if you're still talking just to prove something, you've already lost the advantage. Let this sink in. The person who says the least always holds the most. Because silence keeps them guessing. And the moment they start guessing, you're the one in control. Say too much, and people stop listening. Explain yourself constantly, and they'll assume you're insecure. But say little, and say it with precision, and suddenly, every word lands like a strike. People lean in, they take notice. Because silence creates weight. If this is making sense to you, if something in you knows this is the shift you've needed, comment, ride on, and hit that subscribe button. Because this is just the beginning. What I'm about to show you next, this is where it gets surgical. It's the move almost nobody uses because almost nobody has the discipline, strategic distance. Most people think power means being seen all the time, heard all the time, present in every conversation. But let me give it to you straight. The more accessible you are, the less valuable you become. Scarcity commands attention. Absence creates significance. And now I want you to really sit with this. Why is it that one person walks into a room and everyone straightens up, while another can scream their lungs out and still get ignored? It's not voice, it's not effort, it's value perception. And Machiavelli knew, if a leader is too available, he becomes ordinary. Not because the people hate him, but because they no longer notice him. And it's not just leadership, it's friendships, it's romance, it's work. Be everywhere, and they forget what it's like when you're gone. Give everything, and your worth gets rounded down to expected. You think being present all the time makes you irreplaceable, but the truth is brutal. What's abundant is ignored. What's rare is remembered. So let me ask you straight, how many times have you given your all only to be met with silence? How many times have you shown up for everyone, without fail, only to find no one shows up for you? You think it's just bad luck? It's not. It's how the game works. What's always available loses its edge. What's scarce becomes sacred. That's why presence must be measured. Attention must be rationed. Your time, your energy must feel earned. Don't reply the second they call. Don't be everywhere, every time, for everyone. Let your absence echo. Let it sharpen your value. Because when you master the art of disappearing at the right moment, when you choose stillness instead of chasing, suddenly people start chasing you. But here's the trap most fall into. They fear that if they step away, they'll be forgotten. And that fear exposes them. Because if the only reason people remember you is because you're always there, then you were never remembered. You were just tolerated. Real presence isn't loud, it's felt. True influence doesn't shout, it waits. It strikes when the moment matters. Study the greats. They're not in every room, they're not on every stage, but when they arrive, everyone notices because they've trained the world to notice. And now, we reach the next layer of power, one most never conquer, emotional control. Most people think power looks like force, shouting, domination, but Machiavelli knew better. True power isn't about volume, it's about control. And the one who controls their emotions controls the entire board. Lose your temper, lose the game. Remember the last time someone got under your skin? The moment you snapped, the moment you reacted without thinking, who had the power? It wasn't you. It was them. They set the bait, and you bit. Because the moment your emotions become readable, they become usable. But the one who cannot be provoked, the one who stays composed in chaos, unreadable in conflict, that person becomes untouchable. Whether it's an argument, a negotiation, or a trap designed to make you break character, if you remain centered, you remain in control. This is why Machiavelli wrote that a wise man moves with coldness and calculation, not because he lacks feeling, but because he refuses to let feeling rule him. Emotions aren't weakness, but undisciplined emotions. Those are a loaded gun aimed at your own foot. And if you can master this, if you can stay still when they try to stir you, you become dangerous in a way few ever are. Because the most powerful person in the room is the one who still has control after everyone else has lost theirs.
And now we reach the final law in this silent war: strategic patience. Everyone wants everything now: respect, results, power. But the truth Machiavelli uncovered, what real players throughout history mastered, is this: speed is not the secret. Timing is. This world is overflowing with the impulsive, people who shoot before they aim, people who act before they understand, people who chase without knowing if what they're chasing even matters. But the ones who win, they wait. They watch. They calculate. Like a hunter who doesn't fire at the first sound in the brush, but waits. Still, silent, until the prey moves exactly where it needs to be. Only then do they pull the trigger. And when they do, it's one shot, one kill. That's what power looks like, not flailing in all directions hoping to land a blow, but waiting until the exact moment when every strike hits something that matters. Machiavelli didn't praise chaos, he praised adaptability. He knew the game isn't won by moving fast, it's won by moving right. Mediocrity runs, strategy waits. So now the question shifts to you. Are you the one who rushes into battle without a map? Or the one who sharpens their sword in silence until the time to strike is unavoidable? Because in this world, the throne doesn't go to the loudest voice or the quickest step. It goes to the clearest mind. The sharpest player. The one who doesn't blink when the moment comes. And if you apply this, if you combine precision with patience, fire with focus, then you stop being prey and start becoming predator. You stop reacting to the system and start bending it. But there's one more level, the difference between people who simply escape the trap and the rare few who redesign the game board. The anomalies, the ones who don't just learn the rules, they rewrite them, because now you know. You've seen it with your own eyes, that goodness alone is not enough, that perception shapes power, that silence beats noise, that mystery outweighs clarity, and that timing crushes speed. But knowledge isn't power, application is. So I'll ask you again, what's the point of having this if you keep living like everyone else? What's the point of all this insight if you still cling to the same instincts, the same comforts, the same lies? Most people are trapped in cages they never question. They follow scripts written by people who never cared if they won, but the ones who leave a mark, they don't react, they disrupt, they dare to be unreadable. They move in directions nobody predicted, and that unpredictability, that's what makes them untouchable. And here's the part no one tells you. The system isn't broken. It was built to crush people who follow the script. Conformity is the trap. Blend in, play nice, stay safe, and you'll end up where they want you, forgotten. Another ghost in the crowd, another name that fades before it ever echoes. So if you want to win, you stop copying, you stop moving like everyone else. You become the exception. Be the one who acts without warning. The one no one can read, no one can corner, no one can predict. The one whose silence hits louder than others' screams. When that shift happens, when you stop begging for space and start owning it, the world around you changes. You'll feel it. Not because you became someone else,
but because you finally stopped hiding the sharpest parts of yourself. You weren't invisible because you were unworthy. You were invisible because you never learned how to glow in the dark. But now you know. And that knowledge? It's not neutral. It's a weapon. One you can choose to use or bury again, because from this moment forward, ignorance is no longer an excuse. Every time you speak too much, every time you bend just to be liked, every time you swallow your instincts to fit in, you'll feel it, the sting of knowing better and choosing worse. But there's another way, a quiet evolution, small moves, sharp adjustments. Speak less, observe more, stop explaining, start building mystery. Let your absence say more than your presence ever did. Let your silence make them lean in. These aren't tricks, they're recalibrations. Tiny rewrites that shift the way the world sees you, until the world no longer sees you as ordinary. Because make no mistake, the world doesn't honor the ones who were simply good. It remembers the ones who played well. So now I'm asking you, are you ready to stop watching the board and start moving pieces? If you've made it this far, show me you're not just a listener, you're ready to move different. Drop this in the comments. Today, I decide to move in silence. Powerfully, intentionally. Let's see who's really stepping into the next level. And if this message hits somewhere deep, if it cracks something open in you, subscribe. Because what you just heard, that was the door creaking open. The next step, we don't walk through it, we break it off the hinges. And whatever you do, don't go back to being another pawn in the system. Be the one who designs the game.